You think I like the warehouse? You think I love Continental shoemakers? You think I want to spend 55 years in that Celotex interior with the fluorescent tubes? You see, I'd rather somebody pick up a crowbar and bat out my brains than go back in mornings. But I go. And you coming here yelling that rise and shine, and I just say to myself, hey, lucky, there people are. Whew. So after that rant, might be wondering why I'm up here sounding like a crazy person. Well, because a few months ago, I started preparing for my acting auditions for university. And this is one of the most nerve-wracking but exhilarating challenges of my life. Because unlike a traditional process, I had to do everything online. I had to convey emotions through a camera not even this big. And there's a lot of problems with that. You can't see the audience's reactions. You can't exchange energy with the panel. You can't feel the room. But besides that comes the biggest issue. The technology problems. You're too close to the camera, you're too far, you're too soft. Maybe you're just a bit too loud. It has to be perfect. But my biggest problem was the disconnect you get from working in a digital environment. Because I remember just before I performed my first monologue, I was staring at the little green dot. Don't get me wrong, I was happy to see my technology was finally working, but I had to imagine an audience in front of me to get me in my zone. But as soon as I started beautifully reciting a monologue, it all disappeared. And that's when I felt it, the disconnect, bigger than ever. Because for some of you who don't know, acting is about feeling the audience's gaze on you. It's about feeling the energy shifts around the room. The smallest thing all makes the difference, because that's what makes acting real. And as I was standing there, looking at my laptop, pouring my heart out to that beautiful Tennessee Williams monologue, I realized I'm speaking to something that could never feel, never respond, and never, ever engage with what I'm saying. That's why I think AI could never, ever replicate acting. Because acting, for the history of the world, has been the center of storytelling. Acting is the most deeply human craft possible. It's about the human experience. And AI, or algorithms, or computers, none of them could ever replicate that. And to understand why I'm speaking about this, or what I'm even speaking about, we have to look at history. I know that's very boring for some of you, but let's go back to ancient Greece first, where the actors wore masks, couldn't even see their face. And they portrayed Greek gods and heroes, the perfect people. But suddenly, Shakespeare came along, you might have heard of him, and he goes and gives us human characters. Flawed, has problems, issues. And then lo and behold, the camera is invented. My mom might have been around for that, I don't know though. But everyone was skeptical. Could cameras capture a live performance's emotions? The answer is yes. Then came along Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, who showed us that with just movement, you can tell human stories. And then luckily, sound came alive. And actors like Bogart Humphrey and Katharine Hepburn came along and revolutionized it again by showing that a close-up of someone's face could bring emotions to the screen that not even live performances could capture. And through every single crossroads you face in this industry, whether that's CGI, motion capture, or color film, we've accepted it with grace, yes, but it has brought something more, and acting was still central to film and theater. But nowadays, we're at AI, and warning signs are starting to come. AI is starting to be used in commercials, music, video games, and even won and was nominated for 6 Oscars. The Brutalist, where the leading actor used AI to help with his accent for his character. And that's just showing us how advanced it got. It can mimic voices. Soon, it's going to start mimicking emotional depth, your mannerisms, your movement patterns. And to prove this, one of the biggest stars in history, James Earl Jones, signed his likeness away to Disney for millions, so they could keep playing him as Darth Vader long after he's dead. And you may be saying, Ameer, but AI can do everything perfectly. Yes, it can. But acting is not about that perfection. It's about the humanity that comes out with it. Look at some of our favorite performances. Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire, who brought that primal rage that's deep within human societies out. We all enjoy it and we still talk about it today. And Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, whose mannerisms and his nervous tics and his haunting laugh is one of the most recognizable performances in history. And no, it's not because of the pixel perfect technique or anything else. And everyone talks about the perfect take. But most times, that perfect take is the one where the actor doesn't go with the script. A few mistakes here and there, because it's about that joy, that pain, that humor, and that humanity that comes through every gesture and every single line spoken. And that's why I think AI can't take over, because it can't grow, can't feel, and it can never ever tell our stories. But then again, the companies are coming around and they're blowing AI up. We're using it for scripts, voices, and deepfake technology. And they say, oh, it's cheaper, it eases logistical costs. And this will revolutionize the industry. But at what cost? We're losing jobs, we're losing actors, and people are all scared. So then comes the beautiful question I came across. To act or not to act? And the question will always be around, but the answer should always be yes. But what is the solution to this grand problem? Regulations, ethical guidelines. And the Screen Actors Guild of America has been working on this, but it's not enough. We need the support of artists, filmmakers, and you guys, the audience, to come together and say, we want humanity in our stories. And to anyone here who wonders, like, maybe should I go try out for acting? We need you specifically, because we need, when the credits roll or you open the booklet at the theater, you see human names on that list and not companies. Thank you.